often get handed missing person cases, but when we do, it's usually because the assaults unit says that something criminal has emerged.
So the detectives get together to go over this missing person report. His name is Trace Dennis, 21 years old. Last time he was seen was December 16th at a laundromat. Trace's girlfriend reported him missing 2 days ago. She said the last time she seen him, she was dropped off at the laundromat. He was there, then he left. The vehicle he left in was just found off the interstate. After the vehicle was recovered, they get an anonymous call from someone about a disturbing video they seen on social media. They say it was posted on a private page, shows a male being drugged by 2 other males. The caller also said the 2 men dragging the body in the video identified the guy as Trace. The video has since been taken down, but they did take some screenshots. The group that posted the video is known as Lost Abnormals, but they say there's a lot of groups out there with their name, so they wouldn't be able to pinpoint that. So detectives look at the still photos, determine it does look like Trace, and then they determine that they can't just sit around and wait. It might take a month to get that video from social media. So if someone is missing or in danger, they have to act immediately. So they decide to work the case as a possible homicide.
Very well could be a homicide. I gotta start with the last person that saw him, and that's his girlfriend.
So they contact Trace's girlfriend. She comes down and states she saw him around the 16th, like 6 p.m., something like that. They went to the laundromat, put their clothes in together. He dropped her off, and from there, she never seen him again. But she stated when they parted ways, he said he was going to these people's house to talk to them about some money they owed him for doing his little side job. She said Trace said if he didn't get his money when he go over there, he was going to act a fool. So detectives asked who are the guys' house he went over. She identified them as David and Marcus, both Puerto Rican. She said they live around on Marcus Drive. She don't know the address, but she know how to get there. Detectives asked around how much she think they owed Trace. She stated he said $500. Also, they had issues with another employee they hadn't paid, which they stabbed that guy. So she says when Trace never showed back up, first thing she did was text Marcus and David through Facebook, seeing if they know where he was at. They told her that Trace never came back. So detectives look at her phone to get their Facebook page. So detectives exit the room to go check the Facebook page. First one they come up with was David Hernandez, citizen of Puerto Rico, owns a construction business in Mobile, no prior convictions. So they couldn't find nothing on Marcos in the database. So they go back in, have the girlfriend ride with them, show them where the house is, where David and Marcos was living. So they head over to the house. She point out which one it was. Looked like they since moved out. It looks abandoned at the moment. So they wrap that up with Trace's girlfriend, head back to the precinct, get a warrant signed so they can hit the house in the morning, see if they can find any evidence left over.
Why don't they pull that bitch off? We're gonna go in.
Yeah, we can go in the bush.
Let's not move stuff, open stuff, or anything like that.
So detectives enter the premises. Around the backside, they see a lot of broken up tiles. On the backside of the tiles, it appears to have red spots on them. So they will have to test to determine what that is. Also, as they're looking at their phone from the video that was posted to social media, the images match the exact same images they posted on social media where Trey was being drugged through. Also, when they get around on the back porch, they see that's been scrubbed down. They notice stains still on it, so they would have to check that also. So now they really assuming that the murder scene occurred there. So they bring in some cadaver dogs to start going through the property. While the dogs are searching, the team fans out and start knocking on doors in the neighborhood, seeing if anybody heard it or saw anything. They come across one neighbor who said he heard the gunshot, immediately followed by a scary scream, so loud he can hear it clear as day. Then he heard a second gunshot. All of a sudden, it was silence. The neighbor also hands over surveillance video of the incident. In the video, you clearly hear the gunshot followed by a scream. Then you hear a second shot. All of a sudden, it was dead silent, backing up what he had already told detectives. He also states that like a couple hours after that incident, everybody in that house got up out of there and left. So according to the time frame on the video, now they realize Trace was shot 1 hour after he told his girlfriend he was heading over there. So they head back around in the backyard. The dogs was hitting on the area back there. They looking at a few tiles, see a couple droppings on it. They come in with forensics with their kit to check to see if it's blood or not. It doesn't determine whether it's human or animal blood, but it would state if it's blood, as long as the swab turns pink. So they do their test on it. The swab does turn pink. So after that positive test, they decide to hit the back porch with luminol. Back porch lit up. So they know for a fact a crime was committed there. So the handlers of the cadaver dog said when he got out the truck, he smelled a scent like decomposed body. So they take the cadaver dogs to rummage through that area where he thought the scent may be coming from. Cadaver dogs didn't hit on nothing.
I talked to this guy. He said that on Monday he heard a shot being fired and saw a couple of vehicles in this driveway, including the victim's vehicle, a silver Xterra.
Well, after talking to that guy, detectives decided to call the cyber unit, see if they came up with anything on Marco's real name yet. They say from Facebook, his real name is Marcos Morales. He's a citizen of Puerto Rico, just like David Hernandez. They also was able to come up with an address, a last known address for Marcos Morales and David Hernandez. And that address is located in Jacksonville, Florida. So now they have to race, see if they can get the warrant signed in order to try to catch these guys before they head back to Puerto Rico. So they contact the assistant DA, Keith, break down the case to him, keep giving them the warrants they need, both murder warrants. So now the detectives make the drive out to Jacksonville, see if they can make contact with these two guys. So detectives arrive in Jacksonville, hook up with Jacksonville SWAT team. They get the apartment surrounded where the suspects was known to be. An hour later, Jacksonville SWAT team get back with the detectives, let them know both of them are in custody. So now the detectives head down to interview these guys. So they start with David first, bring in a translator if needed. Ask him, do he know why he here? David states he saw it on the news, the video, the roommate that lived with us was killed. And he also says that the roommate he lives with confessed that he killed him. David also says that he did owe Trace $500. Trace called, said he was going to come by the house, but he never showed up. He says it was around 7 when he got home. Marcos was looking nervous, said Trace came by, but he left. So detectives hit David with a photo of the crime scene. At that point, he started breaking down, saying he didn't do it. So then he switches story up.
Trace llegó a casa. Cuando Trace y Marquito salen para afuera, escuchamos boom, boom.
They run, look at him, ask him what happened. He said he told Marcos to let him call the police. Marcos threatened him. So they asked David if he wasn't in cahoots with Marcos, why is he in Jacksonville with him? He says he's on vacation. So they wrapped that interview up with David, head to the other room to speak with Marcos. So Marcos states that David owed Trace $500 for some work that Trace had done, which confirms everything else that was said about that. He says so Trace came to the house threatening them about how he needed his money. So David leaves Trace there with Marcos. Marcos say all of a sudden Trace busts up in the house. He say Trace pull out a knife. Marcos was like, I'm not getting stabbed. You tell Trace he got to get out. Trace waves the knife. Marcos say he shot him twice. Marco also states that David wasn't there when that incident took place. So they asked Marcos where the body is at. He says it's in the backyard. They asked him, have you ever heard of cadaver dogs? Because they searched their property and didn't find nothing. Marcos say, I'm not saying y'all didn't do y'all job, but it's in the backyard. So after that confession from Marcos, they charged him and David with first-degree murder. They did recover Trace from where Marcos said he was in that backyard. ME determined that he had 13 stab wounds to his back, also 2 gunshot wounds, head and shoulder. This was also later indicted on the second-degree assault charge for that stabbing of Trace's co-worker, innocent until proven guilty. He's awaiting trial on that. For watching, hit that like button, leave me some comments, stay safe out there. I'm done talking.
It's like you told us.
Yep. There's the steps.
Yep.
Barton reviews what they've uncovered.